We've cruised the Norwegian fjords 10 times, and through Cruise Escapes we help people choose cruises like this every day. We booked it at the last minute. A port was cancelled before we'd even arrived, which turned into one of the best days we've ever had in Norway, with Iona turning a complete circle in front of a waterfall. And for the first time, we finally made it to Flåm. In this vlog, we'll show you exactly what it's like to spend 7 nights on board a cruise to the Norwegian fjords, the ship, our balcony cabin, and our honest take on the food, entertainment, and excursions. At the end, we'll tell you what we paid and whether it was worth it. So, is Iona really the best way to see the Norwegian fjords? Let's find out. If you've watched our channel, you'll know we love cruising to Norway. This is our 10th fjords cruise and our 5th on Iona, so we've got plenty to compare it against. We booked late, so P&O's CPS parking had sold out. We used Ocean Village Marina instead, £65 for the week and a short walk from the ocean terminal. If you can't get CPS, we'd use it again. Boarding was midday, and from the terminal door to stepping aboard it took about 10 minutes, one of the quickest we've ever had. A week before sailing, we found we'd been bumped from our GF balcony to a GB balcony on deck 5, a nice surprise on a saver fare. Iona's standard balcony cabins still feel modern. A sofa, plenty of storage, and lots of plug sockets and USB ports, which matter when you travel with lots of phones and cameras like we do. The bathroom's bright and practical too. The one compromise is the balcony. Fine for 2, but small compared with other lines and other balconies on board. We still spent far more time out there than we expected, and on one day it became our favourite spot on the ship, but more on that shortly. One quick tip: if you like a proper cup of tea, ask your cabin steward for a carton of milk as soon as you board. It beats the sachet milk left in the cabin. Deck 5 had a bonus we didn't expect. Coming back from a port, we could walk straight to the cabin from the embarkation deck without queuing for the lifts. So, would we book it again? Absolutely. It isn't bigger or fancier than any standard balcony, but it's practical and comfortable, and one of the best you'll find on a family ship from the UK. That evening, our specialty meal was the keel and cow. We'd always rated it, so hopes were high. It was our first disappointment. The menu shrunk, favourite dishes have gone, and portions felt smaller than we remembered. Not a bad meal though, but not the restaurant we used to love. Better dining was coming. We finished with a drink in Anderson's, knowing that tomorrow we would cross the North Sea with swells of up to 4 metres forecast. The question was, how Britain's biggest ship would handle it. Our first sea day. 3 to 4 metres of swell were forecast across the North Sea, but Iona feels stable, and with a midship cabin on deck 5, we barely felt it. Midship and low is worth choosing if you get seasick. Lunch was in Pearl, one of the main dining rooms on board. We had lasagna, the sweet chili chicken burger, apple brown Betty, and Yorkshire curd tart. A genuinely good lunch, and the start of something that surprised us all week. More on that later. As evening came, everyone dressed for gala night, but we had other plans. The hydrotherapy suite. With only 6 of us in there, it was so peaceful for the 2 hours we had booked. Thermal pool, heated lounges, sauna, steam rooms, and sensory showers. But was it worth it for £40 each? Probably not. For £40 we'd expect to have a full day pass, but this only gave us 2 hours in the suite. Earlier in the day we found out that our itinerary had changed. Bad weather meant P&O cancelled our call at Haugesund. Instead, the captain had something special planned. Sometimes the best moments on a cruise are the ones you never planned. Today was meant to be Haugesund. We weren't sure what to expect, but looking back, we wouldn't change a thing. The scenery here isn't something you visit. You're surrounded by it from the moment you wake up, every turn bringing another waterfall, another tiny village, another mountain vanishing into the cloud. Around 1 o'clock, we reached Furebergfossen, one of the largest waterfalls in the fjord. Rather than sailing past, the captain turned the ship a full 360 degrees, so everyone got the same view whichever side their cabin was on. Turning a ship this size in a fjord, this narrow, is genuinely impressive. In order to enjoy the view, we ordered room service and had club sandwiches on the balcony. The ship carried on into Hardangerfjord, slowing near the village of Sundal, where Bondersbreien Glacier sits at the head of the valley. It looks close enough to touch, yet it's still kilometres away. The captain turned again and hardly anyone wanted to go inside. One of the most memorable days we've ever had in Norway. That evening we had a booking we'd been looking forward to, the Limelight Club. Part restaurant, part live music venue, and for us the best specialty experience of the cruise. £25 each for 3 courses and live entertainment, with Chris Judge performing to a room that was soon singing along. Unlike some specialty restaurants where you're only paying for the meal, here you get the whole evening. If we could recommend just one on Iona, it's this. If the cruise had ended here, it would have been worth it. But the next morning would wake up in one of our favourite ports in Norway, Olden. There's one port we always look forward to, Olden. Before heading ashore, we finally looked at the retreat, Iona's adults-only outdoor area. Quieter than the main decks with hot tubs and waiter service. We've never booked it, but we can see the appeal. Breakfast this morning was at the Keel & Cow, where the breakfast artisan pan is £3.50, plus it includes the tiniest toast available on Iona. It was a great change to the buffet. Olden's easy to do independently, and you don't need an expensive ship excursion. We booked the open-top glacier sightseeing bus with Olden Adventure. Around £31 each, an excellent value. It stops at Loen waterfall, a glacier viewpoint, and then back into Olden with plenty of local commentary along the way. Later we went to the Loen Skylift, one of our favourite things anywhere in Norway. We'd been before in thick cloud, this time sunshine and views for miles. With weather like that, it was absolutely stunning. Then the Olden sail away, one of our favourite traditions. Passengers line the decks, people wave from the shore, and music echoes across the fjord as the ship pulls out. It never gets old. Dinner was the Epicurean, and this was our biggest dining letdown of the week. Prices up, experience down. The food wasn't bad, but the quality and portions felt like a step back. Would rather be recommending it. For us, it no longer justifies the cost. The next day, we'd finally reached somewhere we'd never been, Flåm. For 10 cruises, we'd never made it to Flåm, one of the most famous ports in Norway. Today, that changed. We'd booked today's excursion independently. It's always worth comparing prices. Norway's best had what we wanted, the Stegastein viewpoint for 520 krona each, around £40, cheaper than the ship's version, and the coach held only 15 people, so it felt more personal. Stegastein is a platform that juts 30 metres out from the mountain, about 650 metres above our Loen's fjord. No camera prepares you for it. The mountains seem endless, the water below is perfectly still, and Iona looks tiny from up there. Back on board, lunch was in Pearl again. Later, we wandered into Flåm village, small but lively when the ships are in, with cafes, shops and walks along the river. One quick tip, if you're planning to book the Flåm Railway, book it as soon as possible. It sells out fast. In the afternoon, George did something he had always wanted to do, wild swimming. People make fjord swimming look relaxing. The reality's different. It took a few seconds for the cold to become impossible to ignore, so it wasn't a long swim, but it was memorable. Dinner was in Opal, another main dining room on board, and it was excellent. That was the pattern all week. A couple of specialty restaurants let us down, while the included dining kept quietly impressing us. Flåm also had been worth the wait. One port left, Stavanger. Our last port was Stavanger, always one we're happy to return to. After a run of early starts, we had a lie-in first. We started at Fargegarten, the colourful street you've probably seen online. Then onto the cathedral, Breathtaking Lake, and finished in Old Stavanger, the Old Town. Narrow cobbled streets, white wooden houses, flower-filled gardens. It's peaceful and full of character, and somewhere we'd recommend to anyone with time in port. Eventually it was time to head back towards Iona for one final Norwegian sail away. There's always a slightly bittersweet feeling at this point. You've still got a full day on board, but you know the adventure's coming to an end. That evening we returned to one of our favourite specialty restaurants, Cindy. If you've watched our previous videos, you'll know we've always rated it, and thankfully it didn't disappoint. The food was beautifully presented, full of flavour, and genuinely different from the rest of the ship. After dinner we tried our luck at bingo. Our luck didn't quite extend that far. No win-ins this time, but that's part of the fun. We finished in the Skydome watching Pulse. Our final day couldn't have been more different from the first. Flat sea, sunshine, and everyone making the most of the last few hours. Lunch today was at the Olive Grove. It's included in your fare but feels like a specialty restaurant. And it books up fast, so reserve as soon as you board. The lasagna was probably our favourite included meal of the whole cruise. Make sure you go at least once to this restaurant. The afternoon was quiet, a few laps of the promenade, pack-in and a sunny spot on the top deck. Our final dinner was at the Beach House. £11.50 each for 3 courses and still one of the best value specialty restaurants on Iona. Finally, in the evening we caught the George Michael tribute act in the Skydome. In the morning we'd be back in Southampton, but there was still one question to answer. Was Iona the best way to see the Norwegian fjords? And was it worth what we paid? So let's talk about what we paid first, because it's a question we get asked the most. The cruise cost us £2,158, a saver fare in a GF balcony, upgraded to a GB balcony on deck 5 about a week before sailing. Parking was around £65 for the week. On top of that we paid for a few specialty restaurants including the Limelight and Sindhu at £25 each, the Beach House at £11.50 each per person, plus the Epicurean and the Keel and Cow. Plus we booked excursions independently, the Olden Adventure Bus at around £31 each, Loen Skylift, and the Stegastein Viewpoint at around £40 each. We paid as we went for drinks rather than buying a package, which is normally better value for us. All in, the two of us spent roughly £3,048, including the fare, specialty dining, excursions, parking, the spa and drinks. Not a cheap holiday, but would we pay it again? Without hesitation. The day we'll remember above all others is Hardangerfjord, the scenic cruise-in we didn't know we were getting until the night before. Losing Haugesund could have felt like a letdown. Instead it gave us one of our best ever days in Norway. Olden is still a favourite, but after finally seeing Flåm, we understand why it's become such an icon. On food, the Limelight Club was the best specialty restaurant and Olive Grove the best included restaurant. The low points were the Keel and Cow and the Epicurean, both a step down from what we remembered. That was the story of the week. A couple of paid restaurants went backwards, while the included dining was consistently better than we expected. You really don't need to spend a fortune to eat well on Iona. Would we change anything? Not much. We'd book another deck 5 balcony, return to the Limelight Club, and keep booking independent excursions where they're better value. We'd skip the hydrotherapy suite unless it was on offer. So, is Iona the best way to see the Norwegian fjords? For us, yes it is. The two suit each other. Acres of outdoor deck, floor-to-ceiling windows throughout, a promenade made for scenic cruising, and cabins that let you wake up to a new view every morning. Cruising brings Norway to you. Every cruise leaves you with something different. This time it was Britain's biggest ship turning in front of a waterfall in Hardangerfjord. Room service on the balconies surrounded by mountains and fjords, and standing on Stegastein after years of wondering whether it lived up to the photos. It did. Thanks for coming along. If you're planning your own fjords cruise, we've linked our most useful guides below. Any questions about sailing to Norway, drop them in the comments. Until next time, we'll see you on board.